You've been holding out on us. All right, nice.
Nice, man.
Good morning. Grace to you, peace to you, welcome to you. And if you are visiting with us this morning, a special welcome to you. And yes, this is how we do things around here. You never know what's going to happen music-wise, our word about life, our prayer, the way that we may engage each other or engage the spirit of life and love. I encourage you to sign these friendship pads, connections count. And if you are visiting with us, one of the things that we've noticed is we get a lot of visitors, and we're very grateful for that. And we'd like to make that connection even more important and deeper by often people say they sign their name and they're visiting, but they don't give us any way to get a hold of you. Is that on purpose? I don't know if you're avoiding us, but I would love to have coffee with you. I'd love to have an opportunity for a conversation with you, and I hope that can happen. So please sign those up, and welcome to all of you. Okay, a couple of announcements. First, Heidi, would you please share with us? Is anyone familiar with the cartoon Venture Brothers? Yes? Who said yes?
The band.
Okay, the Venture. Okay, pay attention. Okay, Heidi.
Okay, good morning. I just got totally inspired by the band. I'm here to sing the Turkey Trot Blues. I don't know if you guys saw the truck downstairs. They're collecting food donations and checks or money for Desert Mission for Turkey Trot. If you did not have the opportunity to see Tom Penn and donate, if you would still like to do so, you can. You can use your envelopes and write. You can either do cash or checks, and it can be to Desert Mission. If it goes to Desert Mission, it'll be passed directly to them. If you write it to Shadow Rock, I will turn around and write a check to Desert Mission. And then next week in the Nuggets, I'll let you know the total raised.
The total raise. Good, thank you. Okay.
They want me to sing bass today.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Cindy, regarding angels. An angel regarding it? No, you have to use the microphone. You have to use the You have to use the microphone.
I could just use my teacher voice. I've been asked to first thank the amazing Shadow Rock congregation for once again allowing us to put up a Stepping Stone Foundation's Christmas angel tree. A very special shout out and thank you to Linda and Steve Merrill who came and hung all those amazing tags on the tree. So thank you very much. They've done that for, I don't know, at least a dozen years, yeah? And then just to let you know that there are 40 families at Stepping Stone this year who have children aged 0 to 12 that would love to have you adopt them and buy for them. The instructions are on the back, and Mike Gatorna is in charge of that project. Thank you, Shadow Rock.
Thank you very much. All right. All right. And want to just continue to add on this Thanksgiving, Sunday before Thanksgiving, all of our gratitude for all the different things that are going on, all the ways that you are being supportive of the ministries that in our church as well as the ministries that reach out beyond our church. The great, big, long list. And so thank you for all of that. And so in that spirit, I want to say to you, what did the mother turkey say to her disobedient children? Thank you for that. Thank you. She said to her disobedient children that if their father could see them now, he'd turn over in his gravy. Thank you. All right. Next Sunday in the liturgical calendar is Christ the King Sunday. It is the last Sunday of the church year before we begin our Advent celebration, our Advent observance. And we began our climb, our journey to Christmas Eve. And so part of what we're going to do next Sunday is we're going to have some things out here so that we can do some decorating. And the band is going to play some music, and we're going to decorate our home. We're going to decorate our house. And we hope that that is a blessing to you. We're trying to figure all of that out. We have some of the details in place, but not everything. So be flexible with us, and if you'd like to help, get a hold of us. Let us know, and we'll be sure to try to plug you in on any of that. But we're going to have some decorating, and we thank you for that, and I think it should be a fun time for us to begin the season. So there is that. Also, Lois is looking for her keys. Who has the clothespin key?
No, I had them on Wednesday night, but I put them back where they're
It
hidden.
is so interesting how, Judy, you were pointing out somebody right away. Have you ever... It was Forrest. Okay. All right. We are like a family with siblings that point the fingers at each other about things. All right. Well, take a deep breath. And welcome, and grace to you, and peace to you. And we do our best to live out the truth that no matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We don't know where everyone is on their journey. And we may not know. It may be something that you carry all by yourself. If you choose to do that, we honor that. But if you choose to try and find companions on your journey, we want to try and be there for you. So peace to you and welcome to you. Please join me in our call to worship. Please stand if you're comfortably able. Among us, the spirit of creativity, God conceives new life. And we feel the life within us. In our history, the love, wisdom, and spirit of God makes gentle entry. And we see the light before us. Within our lives and dreams, the truth of our God is revealed. We await the hope of the world. Indeed, we await the hope of the world. Let us sing.
What we found out was that if you are not as old as I am, you may not know it. And if you didn't grow up Methodist or Lutheran or something like that, because most of the choir doesn't know it. So we're going to play it for you so you can hear. Karen, you will know it. Okay. Okay, so...
Friends, let us pray. Spirit of life and love, our dearest God, help us this morning to be aware of all the different stories that define our lives. Help us to be aware of all the different stories that make us who we are. When people ask, where did we come from? We have a story. When people ask, what is it that we do? We have a story. When people ask us, what does life and love mean to us? We have a story. At this time, we are trying to take our story and put it in the larger context of what you are doing in the world. That you are bringing about peace and you're bringing about justice and you are saying that love will have the last word. So may all of our stories, our small stories, fit within your large story of love. For our story, for who we are, and for your love, we give thanks. May all the people say, amen. Good morning. Does everyone have their turkeys out or thawed or? It's too soon. Is it too soon? How many of you doing lasagna? Just so to change up. Okay. That's what I did last year. So, okay. Well, happy Thanksgiving. I hope it is a time with friends and family, a time of giving thanks and being able to experience a time of gratitude, to just sit quietly and be able to know that you are blessed. I hope that happens for you. Well, last Sunday I encouraged us to be in line with the part of our statement of faith as Shadow Rock, we call it our covenant, that says our task together demands a comprehensive view of life, always pointed intentionally to the future. And this means that we embrace the entire mixed bag of beauties and horrors, joys and tragedies straight on. And with both hands. There was a beer commercial a long time ago. I grew up, and I remember it was saying that something about all the gusto, right? Was it grab all the gusto? What was it? Go for the gusto. Thank you, beer drinkers among us, for go for the gusto. And that's what I'm saying, that if we were to think about the intensity of that commercial, go for the gusto, so it is with life, the whole entire mixed bag with both hands and straight on. Now, I want to go a little bit deeper on the part of the mixed bag of life about loss and grief, that side of life. Dr. Carl Albrecht, a PhD in psychology, wrote an article asserting that there are only 5 basic fears out of which almost all the other so-called fears are manufactured. And these are extinction, fear of annihilation, a fear of ceasing to exist. Okay? The fear of mutilation, the fear of losing any part of our precious bodily structure. The fear of loss of autonomy, the fear of being immobilized, paralyzed, restricted, enveloped, overwhelmed, entrapped, imprisoned, smothered, or otherwise controlled by circumstances beyond our control. The 4th fear is separation, the fear of abandonment, rejection, and loss of connectedness. And the 5th fear is ego death, the fear of humiliation, shame, or any other mechanism of profound self-disapproval that threatens the loss of integrity of the self. I think we can distill these 5 down to 1. That is, a fear of profound loss. Every one of the 5 mentioned have in common a condition of having something and the fear of losing it. Loss of life, loss of love, loss of body integrity, loss of self, loss of personality integrity, loss of belonging, loss of capacity and competency, and loss of agency. I think the story of the Garden of Eden and the fall of humankind is a metaphor for helping us to understand that the basic challenge of being human is taking responsibility for all the losses that come with being human. As the story goes, when Adam and Eve were kicked out of the garden, they lost everything. Living in a state of loss is the human condition. If living in a state of loss is the human condition, and the task before us demands a comprehensive view of life, then grief and lamentation is part of an appropriate response to the way life is. I have found Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, her insights to be profound on this point. We have heard about the stages of grief. They include denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. We've experienced these stages. It is an emotional process that no one is exempt. It is the emotional and spiritual process of loss. It doesn't matter if it's a sudden death of a tragic accident or the slower death of a terminal illness. Our losses and grief are not limited to the death of loved ones. Losses and grieving also includes transitions in our lives, changes in jobs, losses in finance, graduating from high school. Some people never get over that one. Marital separation and divorce, downsizing from the family home of 30 years to assisted living apartments, retirement, marriage, an injury that limits your mobility, a move to a new community. All of these things involve a loss. In all of these things of life, we will experience denial and anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And while the stages of grief in theory present themselves as a straight line process, it is never that simple. It is more of a process that is characterized by looping and steps forward and backward. Grief can become complicated, and people can get stuck. When we sing the song that proclaims we are companions on a journey, that is a big part of the journey. In our culture, it is a tendency to individualize and personalize everything we hear. Blind Willie Johnson was a blues singer. He was blinded as a child. He died a pauper in 1945 after living in the ruins of his burnt-down house. He expressed deep sorrow in his song, "Lord, I just can't keep from crying." One lyric went like this: "When my heart's full of sorrow and my eyes are filled with tears, Lord, I just can't keep from crying sometimes." Let me share another poetic note. Is there no healing balm in Gilead? Is there no physician here? Why has the health of the daughter of my people not been restored? Oh, that my head were waters and my eyes a fountain of tears, that I might weep day and night for the slain daughter of my people. Oh, that I had in the desert a wayfarer's lodging place, that I might leave my people and go away from them. They're too miserable. They're too sad. They're too broken. I can't stand it anymore. I gotta get out. Maybe some of you are feeling that way about this sermon right now. This was the poet Jeremiah speaking about the time of conquest and exile. And in the time of conquest and exile, when soldiers would go through the streets and they would break down the doors and they would kill people and they would separate families, governments separating families, breaking people's hearts, devastating life. There were, in fact, great personal losses. And this prophetic poetry from Jeremiah is about national loss, national grief, national lamentation. We are quick to acknowledge the wisdom of Kubler-Ross for us individually. That is, for us to heal, we must embrace the stages of grief. We must go through those stages, and we're willing to go through these stages with each other. We are ready to acknowledge how necessary that is in order for healing to happen for us as individuals. However, we are slow and even resistant to apply such wisdom to our collective and national grief. Every time there is a protest and a rally, underlying the message is the energy of the emotional process of grief. Our nation is grieving a loss of innocence. Our nation is grieving a loss of trust in institutions. Black Lives Matter and #MeToo movements are expressions of anger and bargaining and saying, finally, no more. White nationalists claim losses and fears of being replaced. So in addition to just being plain ignorant, they are also in denial and angry. Political leadership is depressed and paralyzed and stuck in the stage of bargaining when they should be leading through acceptance and visioning. The grief we see unfolding on the national level is the same grief we are experiencing in our local community. Here at Shadow Rock, we are grieving not just the past glory of our church, but we are also grieving the world that fed the past glory of the church. As individual members, we are all over the continuum of the stages of grief. But as a group and your leadership, we are moving forward. I would say we are no longer in denial. We are angry, bargaining, and depressed. As a congregation, we are not at a place of acceptance yet. Some of us are at acceptance, which is not the same as surrender and resignation. We are working too hard for our acceptance to be reduced to such negative terms. How do I know the quality and positivity of our acceptance? It is in the phrase we use in our covenant. Our task together demands a comprehensive view of life, always pointed intentionally to the future. This is acceptance, characterized by hope. Hope is often confused with wishing, especially this time of the year. Wishing is the theme of Hallmark Christmas movies. Hope is the theme for the people of God. Wishing is the work of children, but hope is the work of responsible and free human beings. Wishing allows us to be children, forever wishing upon the stars and staying young forever in Neverland. Hope is different. Another poet I love very much, Heintzelman, wrote about hope. And she said this: there is discomfort in hope. As soon as I plant a tiny seed of hope, anxiety begins to build. Hope is a magnet that pulls me toward the future, into the great void of the unknown. Hope is dangerous. However, hopelessness is deadly. The slide toward death is slippery with regret, missed opportunities, judgment, and resignation. It is not a difficult climb because it is a downhill journey. Hope and life are always an uphill climb. Yes, hope is dangerous and even profoundly disturbing. It puts our butts firmly into the seat of expectation, and expectation in turn leads to anxiety. We think hope is some passive thing out there in the future, pulling us, but always out of reach. We misunderstand the pull, and we misunderstand hope. It is always calling us out of passivity. It is calling us to prepare, to make ready, and to grab our walking sticks and move. Because staying where we are is stagnation, hopelessness, and death. And so you see, these times together as family, they're all connected. We'll get out of our seats next Sunday, proclaim the vision of life and love that Jesus had as King of our lives, and we will move because we will decorate. We will prepare. We are being called out of passivity into the season of hope. And so we are a hopeful people. Hear the wisdom of our tradition. Hear the wisdom of ancient poets. Yes, there's loss, but there is always hope. And so we get to share some hope in a time of celebrations for our lives. And that is if you had a birthday, if you had an anniversary, or you were surprised by a word of grace or a moment of grace and encouragement, we invite you to stand and allow an usher to come to you with a microphone, and so we can all share this together. All right. Gene.
I have two things I'd like to share today. One of them is a birthday card, and even though it might not be your birthday, you are a member of this congregation. I feel like you're my brothers and my sisters, so I'd like to share this birthday card with you. Happy birthday to someone who is like a sister to me, minus all the annoying family stuff. So I thought it was kind of cute. Oh,
Thank you.
that could apply to brothers too.
I think so.
Okay. And I did have the pleasure last night of actually being with a friend of mine. And when I listen to Ken, I try to take part of what he says with me every week. And one of the things that stuck with me from last week that I was kind of carrying with me all through this week was about the blues. For those of you that don't know, I used to be a musician. And I kind of gave it up over the years. But the blues has always been near and dear to me. I love the blues. And I think I love it because it's very simple. Most blues is 3 notes. And for those of you that aren't musicians, now you know something about the blues you might not have known before. And those 3 notes, when played in chords, and could you just give me 3 notes to the blues? Just the notes. Just the notes now, not the chords. Individual. Yeah. And when you start adding more to those 3 notes, they become chords. And I see us all in accord with each other. So when I think about the blues and I think about what Ken has been talking about, it reminds me of the blues, it reminds me of 3 chords, and also came to me this week, it's kind of like our 3 campfires. Even though they are totally different campfires, when you put those 3 together, it's not just what they do individually, but it's the beautiful music they make together. So that was one of the things that came to me this week. I just wanted to share it with all of you. So thank you.
Thank you, Gene. Susan.
Hi, I'm Susan. I wanted to celebrate my daughter Haley today. She's been in the Navy, or she is in the Navy, and she returned recently from serving 2 years on the USS Ronald Reagan in Japan. And she went to San Antonio and went to Master of Arts training, and we just returned from there last night, watching her graduate on Thursday, and she was promoted to MA3. And now, unfortunately, because of a paper glitch, she might not be coming home for the 2 weeks that she's got off before she heads for 4 years to Sicily, but I'm very proud of her.
Amen. Thank you. All right, good. Good. Bert.
Hi, is this on?
Yep.
Bert O'Neill, I have a praise. My younger daughter Connie had a heart attack yesterday, but she's fine. She had a great team at the hospital in Oklahoma where she lives, and They put in one stent, and they're going to otherwise manage with medication. And she's going to be fine, so I'm here to thank God.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you for letting us know. Thank you. Irene.
I just want to say something to Forrest. This is a tickle for you. Because if you're raised a Presbyterian, by the time you're 3, you can stand up on those steps and sing, "I love to tell the story."
Yes. All right. Very good. Who has it? Oh, Ann.
I'm Ann Eicher, and our granddaughter, Megan, turned 1 on the 15th.
Wonderful. Happy birthday. Okay. Michael.
Good morning, Michael Lee. And for the last 3 years, I've been working as an ops manager at Mayo Clinic for cancer clinical trials. And starting in January, I will be operations administrator, supporting the departments of radiology, OBGYN, and pediatrics. Unfortunately, this means that I'm moving to Rochester, Minnesota in January as well. So I'd like to thank my parents and family for all their support, and looking forward to a new chapter. So thanks.
Congratulations, and we will miss you. We will miss you. All right. Linda.
This morning I have a story to tell you. About 20 years ago, 2 single young moms formed a very strong friendship. They both were teachers at Western Sky Middle School, and they decided that they would get a house and live together, which they did. And their careers took off. One of the young women was our daughter, Heather. She became a professor at Glendale Community College. Her friend Karen Walker became the beloved principal at one of the schools, the elementary schools, and then later an associate superintendent in the Litchfield Park School District. Well, as time went on, Karen developed cancer. And our daughter, I'm celebrating her loyalty. She paused her life to take care of her friend. Karen passed away on Friday night. Our daughter was at her side. She had sent Karen's daughter home. She'd been there all day. I'd like to celebrate both Heather's loyalty and Karen's life and ask prayers for Heather, Karen's daughter Lauren, and Karen's sister Charlene.
Linda, thank you for sharing so we can grieve with you, pray with you, and celebrate their lives and their love. Thank you. Okay. Guy.
Good morning. November's a busy month for our family. Our precious son-in-law had a birthday. Today's the 8th anniversary of my father's passing. It's one of my cousin's birthdays. Another cousin of mine, her husband passed away the other day, and tomorrow is the 51st birthday of our oldest son, Christian.
Wonderful. Happy birthday. All right. Okay. Mickey.
Good morning, Mickey Tucker. I experienced a moment of grace this week. Last night I got to go see Pete Souza, the White House photographer for 8 years for Obama. It was an amazing program, and a room full of liberals. So I enjoyed myself. The moment of grace was my sweet husband, who in the program this morning it says Coffee Chat is from Mickey and Herb Tucker. It is actually from Herb Tucker, who slaved all day and all evening doing all this, while I got to go with my brother to this great program. So come join Coffee Chat. He makes great food.
He does. Thank you. Thank you, Mickey. All right. Barb.
Hi, Barb Hass, and I wanted to celebrate the birthday of my grandson. He turned 6. His name is Danny, and Kelly's husband, Jordan, Danny's dad, also had a birthday last week, so we were celebrating.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Very good. Yes. Ally of Spider-Man.
I like to celebrate the life of Stan Lee, who brought such magic to my childhood. I'm sorry for his passing.
Yes. Good job. I agree. Thank you for that. Allison.
Good morning. I'll pick up on Mickey's. Herb helped out last week for the celebration coffee chat with friends from Phil, and also the facilities team and the ushers and the men's social groups. So I want to thank them all for participating. I'd also like to remind you that any contribution, anything you buy today at the bake sale is going to help buy a new defibrillator for the other building. We have one in this building, but it's a long way between here and there if somebody needs it really quickly. So that's where the money is going to go. So your help in purchasing food today will be gratefully appreciated. And then I'd like to introduce Carolyn Farley, who has come to rescue me and stay with my fur babies while I'm gone traveling to see the girls up until January. So I'm just grateful to have Carolyn to come and take care of the fur babies.
Yes.
And hopefully she'll be welcomed here and come back again.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome, Carolyn. Thank you. Okay, who has a microphone? Heidi.
Good morning again. Continuing the music theme, I would like to celebrate the fact that marching band season is officially over. Drake is a freshman at Mountain Ridge High School this year, and last night they went to the state championships. The top 8 bands in each division were represented, and Mountain Ridge scored 3rd place. So we're thrilled.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you. Lois.
I just want to say thanks to whoever decorated my desk this morning. It was a great surprise, and it just made me feel really special. So everyone else needs to come by and see what my desk looks like.
Wonderful. And whoever did that needs to return the keys. Okay, so, all right. Susan.
Good morning, I'm Susan Glenn, and Alice Ann, I just got back from Seattle, where you're going, and I went to celebrate my grandson Zach's 15th birthday. So great place to celebrate.
Thank you. Very good. Forrest.
This seems to be Celebrate Herb Day. So I'm going to join the group. 2 weeks ago, Cindy and I were talking after choir practice, and I don't know why it came up, but we just were talking about not ever having tasted lox before. And lo and behold, last Wednesday, Herb brought bagels and lox for the entire choir. And it was really fun, and I liked them.
Nice. Very good.
You can bring them again anytime. It was wonderful. So I'm celebrating today because I think my sight is returning in my left eye, and I'm very excited. Thanks for all your inquiries and your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. All right, Jim.
Should I talk like Heidi?
Yes.
I just want to, I celebrated, or forgot to celebrate last week that while we were gone, I turned 72, and Barb and I celebrated having been married, what'd she say, forever? What was it? I think something like 46 years. So. All right.
I'm always nervous. My name is Kathy Mickelson, and I wanted to share a moment of grace that happened this morning. Many of you don't know, my husband likes to do 1,000-piece puzzles, and he often buys used ones. And we were doing this puzzle, a Christmas puzzle, and last night we finished it, and there was a piece missing. And he was so disappointed and upset, but we went to bed, whatever. And this morning my granddaughter called, and I was sitting on the couch, and I put my hands down between the cushions, and out came the piece. Now this has happened to me many times before, not many, but several times before in my life. But not knowing what Ken was going to talk about this morning, what struck me was, my moment of grace was, as Thanksgiving is coming, lots of us might have a missing piece. And I always pray for the grace to accept the missing piece where it's at right now, but I always hold out hope that God might bring that piece back to me. And that happened this morning, and so
Wonderful.
It was just a little thing, but Guy and I were just like praising and excited and just joyful that that one little piece came home to us. So my thought about Thanksgiving is, if you have a missing piece in your family or in your life, that God gives you the grace to accept that for now, but always hold out hope that the piece might come back to you.
Amen. Good word. Thank you. Okay. Tom.
Good morning, Tom Penn. I want to, we have a late count of the funds and the turkeys that came in this morning. We'll have this being Arizona, we'll have a later count next week. Couldn't help that, sorry. But it's about a half a ton of foodstuffs, and we're about $1,100 in cash, which is wonderful. They're going to be very happy with it, and I thank you all very much. Also this morning, I wanted to lift up a group that we forget about a lot, and that's women who are in prison. American prisons, women in astonishing numbers. The population of women in state prisons has increased by more than 800% in the last 4 decades. The number of women in local jails is 14 times higher than it was in the 1970s. Most of these women haven't been convicted of a crime, but are too poor to post bail while awaiting trial. The majority have been charged with low-level nonviolent offenses such as drug possession, shoplifting, and parole violations. The result is that more than 250,000 children in the U.S. have a mother in jail. Since most of those are single, it's not too different from being, separated from your child almost forever. 1 in 9 black children has a parent who is or has been incarcerated. There are things going on to help. I'm on the board of Cheers, which is a local organization providing services to people who are disabled or mentally ill. We have a contract now to work with women in prison, in the jail in Maricopa County, and so very proud of that. There's also an organization in Tulsa, which got me talking about this morning, called Still She Rises, and they're doing a wonderful job in changing some of the laws in Oklahoma. One of which is, this is apparently other states do as well. When a pregnant woman gives birth in jail, they chain her up. And they passed a law last year in Oklahoma that did away with that. Pretty amazing. I know some of you probably don't even believe it, but apparently it's true. And one woman said, I was able to have my child before I went to jail, or I would have been chained as well. Pretty amazing stuff. So I just want to keep that in your minds, and if you can do anything to help in any way, try to do it. Look up Still She Rises. It's a big group of people that are doing a great job. Originally started in the Bronx. So they're branching out, and I just wanted to bring up this group that we rarely even talk about. So thank you.
Thank you, Tom. One of the ministries we provide here at Shadow Rock is to Kairos. Kairos is a ministry of healing. It's a weekend retreat for women whose lives have been impacted by incarceration. So we try to do our part. And as a small church, we do a lot. We do a lot. One other celebration, and then Charlie is going to speak, and that is Missiel is in the corner with his new baby, Missiel Perez, and his family is here. Hello, welcome. And yesterday, November 17th, was the 4-year anniversary when Missiel first came into sanctuary here at Shadow Rock. That was 4 years ago. Now, we don't know. There's a lot we don't know. What we do know is that his cousin had been deported and was tortured and killed in Guatemala by gangs. What we do know is that he would have been deported had he not come into sanctuary into this church. What we do know is that he has had 4 years of life, and he did something really crazy. He fell in love, and he's got a family, okay? And so this is a gift of life that all of us have been a part of. And so we give thanks. We don't know what tomorrow holds, but we know that there's been 4 years of life and incredible, powerful courage and faith and witness from Missiel and his family. And for that we give thanks. Okay? Okay, Charlie. Thank you.
I'm going to use a couple of flip charts, so if the choir and band want to move into Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you're in the back, you might want to move forward so you can see what I'm presenting. What I'm going to do is, and in fact, while they're moving, I'll use a bad joke, a Christmas bad joke like Ken had one. Do you know why Santa Claus had 3 gardens? So he could ho, ho, ho. Okay, I know. I know. For those that don't know me, I'm Charlie Farmer, and I'm treasurer. And what I'm going to do is kind of like Paul Harvey and tell you about the 2018 results and kind of go through the rest of the story. I've color-coded this, so even if you can't see it, hopefully you can get a feel for what the data is if you're in the back. This line here, top line, was the total expenses that we estimated when we did our budget. We had pledges, and I ran out of time and energy to fill in the green, but the pledges came up to here, and other income was the blue area. The blue area includes a lot of different things, but the biggest single item is under one roof, which includes the Jewish temple, the Catholic congregation, and the preschool paying for rent. Preschool is the biggest single item. So you can see we had a sizable deficit that those of you that were here when we approved that probably remember it. Then in June, Marilyn Rampley made a proposal that we do a 50 for 50 campaign. The impact of that, these are all to the same scale. The pledges didn't change, the other income didn't change, but the 50 for 50 is kind of this purplish pink area here, and you can see the deficit, especially in the back, is probably not very visible, but it's a small number. So this is where we were with the budget. This is where we were with pledges from 50 for 50. Now, as of the end of September, actual data, pledges are a little below plan. Now these are, again, to the same scale, and this is through 9 months. So it's not meant to be the same level. But pledges are a little behind plan, other income is a little above plan, and the deficit is kind of along the line to be this. Now, where do we end up the year? We don't know until we get there. But September was a positive month. October had a large pledge received, and historically, December has been a good month. So if we can all keep our fingers crossed, maybe we can shrink this some more. On actual pledging, there's up-to-date data in Heidi's Corner in your bulletin that's a little more current than mine. Again, these are to the same scale. But you can see that on November 8th in 2017, which is pledging for 2018, we had 92 pledges to this level. We eventually got a final amount that was at that level. Through November 7th, 2018, we had 87 pledges, and this is slightly below that, but it was so close that in the accuracy of my drawing, you can't tell the difference. As of what's in Heidi's Corner, this number is now higher than this number. So I will hang around after the service. I didn't put actual numbers in any of this because I was told you probably couldn't remember it or you couldn't see it. And if you had any questions or comments, please see me after the service and I'll try to answer any questions that you have. Okay, if the choir wants to go back, or if you want to, I don't know where you guys want to be when you sing your song. Okay, and I'll tell you another really bad Christmas joke. Do you know which one of Santa's reindeer is the meanest? Rudolph. Okay. I heard this on the radio. I thought they were really bad.
You were right.
Okay.
Hey, Charlie,
Yeah.
over here. Oh, no, here. So I'm going to ask you to summarize.
Okay.
Are we in trouble?
Compared to this, we're in fantastic shape.
Okay. So we're doing great or we're doing good?
We're actually doing good. The good news, and I didn't mention it, one of the items that we spend hours putting a budget together, and there's a line item called where we know the people are giving, but they don't pledge. And so far, that is doing really well this year. But it drives us crazy when we try to budget because we guess at it and we argue for hours, not hours, minutes, about what should we put that in for this year because we have no idea what it's going to be. And that's part of the reason we really ask you to fill out your pledge cards so that we get a good feel for what we can count on. The thing that doesn't show up in any of the pledges and any of this is the church as an entity has two large reserve funds. One came from an estate gift and one is from the preschool. And both of them are in over $100,000.
All right.
Okay?
So thank you very much for that.
Okay. Now for our invitation to give. Our offerings for the celebration of life in this place and beyond shall now be received.
All right. Thank you. Okay. What are you all saying to each other? Thank you. All right? All right. Please stand if you're comfortably able and join me in the dedication of ourselves and our offerings and also our words for mission. As we depart one from another, let our hearts be secure through every human season. Let our hearts be secure in this complex reality. We are worthy recipients of love and support we can never earn.
And we are worthy providers of love and support others cannot earn.
Let our hearts be secure.
For our hearts know and understand and look on with identity.
These are the times. We are the people. All of creation is blessed. May God be with you.
And also with you.
Amen.